Hello, everyone. Welcome to an AMC Connects. Anne-Marie here. I hope that you were able to tune in last week, whether listening or if you got the opportunity to see the new studio. The new studio is still intact. We'll keep it this way for a while. Thank you again, Chuck. I hope you're enjoying it. I don't know that I've heard any feedback through the mailbag or any other way yet, but we would love to. I had shared last week that it was Chuck that really stepped it up a notch for me. And so whenever anybody kind of goes out there, right, and does something creative, it would be great to hear feedback. So please do that, much more than just looking at me, through a whole episode.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Welcome back, everyone. I have to be honest, right up front, I'm really nervous about this episode, and you'll figure out why pretty quickly. But we do have some hot off the press news that's been, some has been released, some maybe hasn't yet, but want to make sure that we are quick to the point on AMC Connects and providing you some information. And then, of course, we have a guest, which is what is increasing my nerves a little bit. So please stay with me, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for coming back. Hopefully I've sparked some interest that's a little different, and you're thinking in the back of your mind, why would Anne-Marie be more high energy and or nervous for this episode? Well, we're going to get to that. But beforehand, stay with me still with some of the news updates. I had thanked on last week's episode our media outlets. It's really wonderful that we have partners in the media who are talking about healthcare. Maybe not the way I do, maybe not the focus areas, but incredibly grateful that healthcare is a topic that the media covers. And in the OD, we did recently have an article that we were mentioned in, which is pretty important. So I'm just going to kick us off with that. Healthcare community targets top issues. Improvement plan centers on poverty, anxiety, access to prenatal care. And do want to talk about a bit of the background with this article if you haven't seen it. Really important one, really important question. Have you ever struggled to find a local primary care doctor accepting new patients? Skipped dental care because it costs too much, or you couldn't find a dentist who takes your insurance? Struggled to find a safe, affordable home for your kids? Those are a few of the local barriers to good health and good healthcare residents brought up as the Oneida County Health Department. The Mohawk Valley Health System and Rome Health conducted a community assessment, and the report on the assessment and the county's community health improvement plan for 2025 to 2030, prepared by a consultant, Research and Marketing Strategies, Inc., were released earlier this month. From among many of the needs and barriers that emerged during the assessment, the steering committee chose 3 priority areas on which the health department, health systems, our partnering agencies, non-for-profits, and healthcare providers will focus on through 2030. Poverty, anxiety and stress, and access to and use of good prenatal care. The goal of the Community Health Assessment Improvement Plan is to provide a thorough review of and insight to the significant health needs across Oneida County, particularly within the most vulnerable populations, said County Executive Anthony Pacenti in a statement. The article goes into some specifics, and again, really proud to be able to be a part of a county that has a process to evaluate what's going on and making sure that Rome Health is an active participant, partnering with other local agencies to make sure that our community's highest needs are heard, they're assessed, and we're responding to that. Well, it's probably a great backdrop to be able to introduce the guest and therefore unveil my anxiety as we get there. Really important. My boss is with us in the studio and with us today. I know. We could have a bit of a drum roll. Before I go into that introduction, I do want to say and have the full support of the board here at Rome Health to say unequivocally, when I welcome new people into the organization or I'm doing an employee forum, I do say I ultimately feel that my boss are patients and caregivers and family members that are caring about the patients that we get an opportunity to serve. So if we were looking at a traditional org chart where the person in the room that I report to is here with us to have a further deep dive discussion, we would actually flip that upside down. And the community needs assessment's a huge driver of that, but patients in the community, they're the true bosses, so to speak, that the role of the CEO is accountable to. And I have the full support of the board to make sure that that's the highest priority and pay attention to that. And I pay attention to that every day of what the feedback is, our outcomes. We talk a lot about that on AMC Connects, but in the traditional sense and with a great deal of respect and regard, I am here in the studio with the official reporting boss, Dr. Restivo. Dr. John Restivo is with me. Yes, ta-da, ta-da. Unveiling that. People may not have known. People may not know that the president and CEO of a health network has a boss and or bosses. So Dr. Restivo, who has many, many hats, one big one that he carries on the shoulders is all of us as an institution, certainly me, and working hard to reflect what it is that we do every day up to a very caring chairman and board of trustees that's incredibly giving of their time, but also carries a number of other hats that I'll have him talk about in particular. But maybe we'll start, Dr. Restivo, with your role as chairman and what that means to you and why, gosh, you don't get paid for it. We're a non-for-profit institution. I'm not really sure that anybody carries you around on their shoulders, although maybe that's warranted. But tell us a bit about your role as chairman.
So I've been in the role now for, is it two
years
plus,
officially?
Yeah. 2+ years. So I've been in my role for about 2+ years at this point. A great honor to be in that role and to serve the community and serve the hospital. I've been here for, I was thinking about it this morning. In May, I will have been here at Rome Health for half of my entire life. So I'm hitting that halfway point at that point, which has obviously things about getting older, but also where you've been. And I could not have thought at any point when I first started out that I would be in such a great place for so long. And then, so when the opportunity to participate in the board became available, I certainly jumped at that, and I thought it was a great opportunity and something I would love to do. I really care deeply for both our employees, the community, and all of our patients, and sort of what we have done and where we've come from and where we're going. And so was able to work under Dr. Desai, very lucky to have such a great I would say mentor and role model and a friend as the former chairman of the board. And not that I'm glad he hit the wall where he had to be done based upon what we have, but it gave me the opportunity to sort of step into that role. And so, really, in the end, as chairman of the board, my role includes coordinating with the rest of the board of trustees, interfacing with you as CEO and the rest of administration, making sure that we fulfill all of our duties in terms of our very straightforward stated duties and responsibilities to the state and all the regulatory agencies, but then also make sure that, as sort of the representative of the board and who are kind of navigating where we are as we work with administration and particularly with you, that we're fulfilling our mission and our vision, and we're going in the direction that we're trying to get to, and making sure that we have financial viability as an institution, and that we're able to, by being responsible fiscally and in a thoughtful way, to provide more services to more patients. That's really in the end what we did want to make sure.
When I think about a dream come true for a non-for-profit board, it's to be able to have a chairman and a board of trustees that focuses on mission, at its core, and then the quality and fiduciary responsibilities. It was such a wonderful way to unpack that, especially for this audience, because we want to make sure our workforce really understands the whole organization at every level. I don't think I've ever told you this. I believe I told Dr. Desai this, but I was really intrigued. One of the intriguing parts of interviewing for the CEO position here at Rome and wanting to be a part of the organization was is that Rome Health's board represents like no other I had really encountered, and that there's formal seats that physicians carry on the board of trustees, let alone being able to have a chairman or chairperson that's a physician, held by a physician. And we also have nurses. When I was interviewed and came to Rome, there was nurses and clinicians that were on the board, which is certainly the business that we're in. And then the board's rounded out by a number of other expertise that we need to be able to make sure what you said actually happens. So
Right.
I don't think I'd shared that with you, but
Nope.
it's an honor to be able to have the active involvement and leadership from a physician. I think people may know you as a physician and physician leader, and or they may know you as board chairman. But when you were talking about quality, I mean, you really lead the way as an active medical staff leader in the specialty with which you serve the community to be living and breathing at the highest level of quality for your particular specialty. So you have so many hats, but can we just like talk a little bit about that hat as well? Because again, you're out in front of setting the stage for high quality performance measures.
So I'm the chairman of the Department of Medical Imaging. So I have been in that role for, I don't know exactly how many years, but maybe 27 or 28 years.
Like, don't when you like say the number of years?
It's a little
Congratulations, by
terrifying.
the way. It's like somebody's
terrifying.
whole. It's like somebody's whole life.
It's you know, it's that double-edged sword. Who knows?
When you start to say 30 years, and this is like above and beyond patient care that you were.
30 years. I remember sitting,
somebody's whole life.
sitting on my driveway when I was a little kid and going, "Oh my God, can you imagine how old we'll be in 2000 and all that sort of stuff?" That was and so
And that was 26
yeah. So it's
years
a
ago.
long time, but I've been in that role for a very long time. So I've seen a great number of employees come and go, physicians come and go, administrations come and go, and been lucky enough to sort of continue in that role for as long as I have been in. And you know, when I see what we as an institution, and more specifically we as a department, have been able to achieve, you know, I'm very proud of
it's
where we are and where we've
spectacular.
come from. And I remember when we first started, the mammography was a single unit down in the basement. I had to almost leave the main hospital, go down a set of stairs to where mammography was. And we were doing a good job, and certainly we were hitting all the standards that we need to do, but didn't feel like the experience that I wanted for patients, or I'm sure that patients wanted in the long run. And now I look, and you know, we have a coordinated breast imaging program where we have 2 mammo units in the system, soon to be 3. We have you know, a large number of ultrasound machines and technologists who really are do some great breast work as well. And you know,
They're exceptional, Dr.
Oh, they do a great job. I can't say enough for our mammo techs, our ultrasound techs, all of our technologists in general.
Yes.
They all do a great job. And you know,
I've
MRI.
been a patient and had my testing here. It's not just because I'm biased, because of the position we get to be in, right? But they're amazing. The ability to calm people down. I mean, because when people are coming for testing, like some of it's routine, but largely it's because there's follow-up, or there's potentially a finding, or there's a, I mean, if you think about all the intrusive thoughts that go through people's heads when they're like sitting or laying, getting a test or a procedure, like the technologists are amazing.
They do a great job. You know, I talk to members of the community all the time. You know, I have friends and family members who come here, and like you said, even if it's routine, in the back of everyone's mind, they're always thinking, could this find something?
Yes.
If they find something, what's it going to mean? And if something is found and there's more, you know, imaging or work that needs to be done, it's human nature to go way down the road and think the worst. So there's a lot of anxiety associated with everything we're doing. I think we do an exceptional job of reassuring patients, explaining to patients what we're doing, why we're doing it. and what it can mean. Obviously there are roles, and you get to the, as a technologist, you can explain to a point, and then as a physician, you explain to a point, and then there's referrals and things like that.
When I think of you and get the opportunity to be around you, in the clinical setting and the leadership you provide there, there's such, I think that the workforce that works closely with you takes it to heart. Those are the people that we have, which is awesome. We're talking about that. But you kind of lead in that direction too. And that I know I feel that way around you. I mean, I want to be the best I can be, certainly for this institution. But because that's the vision you carry, and that's the vision you model. And so we all want to make sure when we see you and work closely, it's kind of part of having you on this episode one.
That.
You're the chairman, so you should
right.
be on the AMC Connects, by now, Chuck. But and to really underscore that, we have been working. On the show, on the episodes, we've been talking a bit about accountability and living up to things. And maybe to put you on the spot, the CEO, has just completed another year. I think it'll be 5 years, so 4 formal evaluation cycles. Maybe it's helpful to the workforce to know that as we work on, being a high reliable organization, which means every patient, every staff member, every encounter, every time we exceed people's expectations in the community. I mean, that's the torch you carry.
That's a goal.
That's a goal. And so part of that is supportive accountability and making sure that we're all, working to be the exceptional people our vision calls us to be. And so to put you on the spot, there's a CEO evaluation process in a formal way. This is probably the second, so you've really got a lot of, you got some year underneath your belt here to evaluate the CEO.
One.
But maybe talk to the audience a little bit about how the board holds the CEO, the president and CEO of this health system accountable to what you said is your role and the board's role for the organization.
So, just sort of the day-to-day activities, right? So one, we have our board meetings every month, and we review everything, from financials to quality to individual complaints, other concerns, service lines, all those things. And, with regard to those meetings and all the supporting documentation we get, in the end, everyone at that meeting is looking to you in terms of answering those questions and being responsible for it. And so I think there's a constant level of accountability that the board holds you to, which I can't be more pleased in terms of what you do and how you do it and your results. So that's just a general thing. I mean, it's in the end, we are, as a board, are deeply reliant and have very high expectations of our CEO. And again, we're very blessed to have you in that role, because I'm very confident with our direction, our responsiveness, and how we're doing things. In addition to that, employees, they have yearly evaluations, and it's usually by one person. I think occasionally some roles or some expanded things, maybe 1 or 2 people will give them an evaluation and go from there. I look at at the packet of CEO evaluations. You have to sometimes you take a step back. I took a step back and I went, okay, so we have the board evaluations. So individual members of the board, for people who don't know, we have a very long, very detailed, very in-depth questionnaire about how we think that you're doing, in terms of physician relations, community relations, supervising, quality of care, fiducial responsibilities, all of those things. And it is very detailed and very long, and every single member of the board participates in that. So many pages, that's all accumulated. In addition, we have senior administrator and administrators and leaders, not just a high level, but the administrators in the institution and the leaders at Rome Health also do a very in-depth questionnaire evaluation with specific comments. It's not just check, a number and a check or whatever. It's very in-depth in terms of what their feelings are and thoughts are. And then obviously, and then you do a very in-depth reflection upon your performance as well. And I will say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You're very hard on yourself because you have very high expectations, just like we were talking about. Very high expectations. So we look at all of that and sort of evaluate, reflect on ourselves, on our performance, because we review we do an evaluation of ourselves as well. And then how working with you, that interaction and that encounter is, and how positive it is, and how well we did, how well you did, in our opinion, what we want to work on to do better as a board, and from your standpoint as well. So I would, if you look at the total number of people that are specifically evaluating sort of how you do, and then we look at that. It's a huge number, and then in the end we go over it, and you're accountable to all of those things. And because your role is so broad, there's always things that come out in terms of, what things do we think we did great, and what things do we think we could do better, and how in your role can we even achieve more. Yeah. So I think in the end the board takes it to heart that they are in the end responsible for how things go and what we're able to achieve. And I know that again, especially from that reviews and our thought processes and sort of aligning that mission and vision, that we hold you accountable. And you hold yourself accountable, and I really do look at it as sort of a parallel to how I don't like to say my department. I run my department because it's not my department; it's our department. But in my role in the department, it's the same sort of accountability where we hold people in imaging to a high level of accountability. And in my medical staff roles, I hold other physicians to a high level of accountability. And then on my board level, we hold administration and yourself accountable. I mean, because in the end, day to day, you're the lifeblood of the institution. You're the brain and the blood and the pumping heart and everything. That's how it goes forward. So being an institution where accountability is important. Yeah, it has always been there. It's always up and down. I think one of the sort of pleasures of this administration and sort of where we are and where we've been able to go is we have such a great team. I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting in this chair. We have a great leadership team with you at the helm, and never a group that sits back on their laurels, always trying to go forward and make it better. And, when you take steps and you set the bar high and you achieve all or part of those goals and you have those achievements, then expectation now becomes here. So that's tough, right? Because, if you're,
I feel it.
If you're doing if you're a mess and you fix things, well, it looks really great, but you take a lot of low-hanging fruit. Sure. Whereas I think we've, as an institution, have
handled that,
taking care of all the low-hanging fruit. For now, a lot of the challenges we have and the things we have are hard. And I think the leadership team does a great job and gets there. And everybody, because it comes down. It's not just, the department director, right? It's the department director, the people that they rely on, their, division heads, and then everybody. Yeah. So it comes across the board.
I really appreciate what you said at the beginning, like the top of the discussion, which is it may sound a little like a high school musical, but we really believe in it. You really believe in it. The together we serve. And so I do think it's important that Dr. Restivo, as we continue to hone in, I mean, you just worded that perfectly in the sense of that when the bar is raised, and we've raised the bar for Rome Health and for our community, because our community deserves it. And so that means that the scrutiny and the accountability and the skill sets and the competencies, I mean, they've all got to continue to rise. So I really appreciate you going over that, Dr. Restivo, because again, I really want our workforce to know that all of us are in this together. Together we serve. And so we're all kind of subjected to a level of evaluation and feedback and all of that. I'm going to put a plug in for the mailbag to be able to give feedback. It's part of the way over time. I do elevate those questions and discussions to the board. I have done that since we've been doing the podcast even. It's just another path and outlet that we've talked about here. I guess, Dr. Restivo, as we transition into kind of the this has been a great discussion to hear from you, but kind of the softer side of the episode and the podcast channeling of rapid fire questions. We like to do that here on the podcast. But, one of the questions that might kind of lean us into that overview and into rapid fire would be, you started to talk about this, but if there was a single proudest moment for you in 29 years. I love that. We're like the same years of service in healthcare, by the way. Anyway, so
we're both old.
Really connected. We're like super connected. We are, even more so than I guess I realized. But if there was a single moment in time that you could reflect on, of any, years of service, like what kind of like, wow, kind of sets you up for
so
pride moment?
I mean, I will tell you that lots of proud moments, and it's. It gets a little, I don't know, goofy or a little too emotional, or whatever. But I get emotional about some of these things. But
sure.
If I was going to pick out, a single thing that stands out, it would be when we opened up probably the new medical imaging department. It's been a number of years
so
now.
Nice, so well orchestrated.
But it was one. It was very well done.
Wow, yeah.
I was lucky enough to work very closely with the hospital, with Mark Snyderman, who, Mark is no longer with us, but was a tremendous asset for me. I came as a 29-year-old, right out of residency. I turned 30 in the department and was able to work really closely with Mark in terms of achieving the next goal, which was to get the imaging department where it was. Again, get mammo out of the basement, get an award-winning design, have it implemented, and then, really be able to open up just a tremendous patient experience for, in CT and bring MRI on site with Craig Pohl from day one, getting us where we need to go, and ultrasound and all the people in ultrasound that have gotten us where we are, and have rooms that are conducive to patient care and clean and just well organized. So that was probably my single, proudest thing is that we were able to take that leap from what I would call a really great but antiquated department to a modern imaging department.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since that happened already, believe it or not. I think it was 15 plus years ago that happened. Wow. But I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of other things that I'm very proud of, but they're even more gushy, and it would be really bad.
Sure. I
You don't want to hear that.
Well, maybe we'll have you back on, because I think, Chuck, we like gushy here, too, as much as we like fun and seriousness. I'm really glad you brought that up, though, because I don't think I've ever talked about it in this forum, in this channel, but I have a wonderful opportunity to recruit physicians and APPs to the organization, as you mentioned, and, an evaluation point. It's a big part of my role to be able to build relationships with the medical staff and our advanced practice providers, and then future state. Every single time I do a tour and we get to the points of medical imaging, like without question, there's a gasp. And at least certainly hospital-based providers in particular are like, I didn't know Rome had office,
Right.
and it's when we tour, and it's I would say, I mean, I wasn't at all a part of that design, but it is truly state of the art. I have been part of emergency departments that have needed and had new construction in them, and absolutely brilliant. Like when I first came to Rome, I was like, well, why are there 2 doors into the ED patient rooms? And, you know, when I lived in that a little bit and watched care provided and was really present and spending time, like, this is amazing, both from a medical imaging efficiency, patient privacy. I mean, it's just state of the art. So I'm really glad you brought up that pride point. To give us a little bit of levity, though, we do want to know what your favorite go-to gas station snack is. I know that's a quick pivot. I'm sorry, Dr. Steve, but I know you can handle it.
No, I can answer that question in about 2 seconds. Well, I'm a sucker for fast food, snacks, all of that stuff. So
You didn't say apple.
I did have some health challenges in the last year where I've had to adjust my enjoyment of fast food and the gas food station snacks. But it's actually very easy. You know, there's lots of things. You know, hot dogs are fine. But they have the breakfast empanada.
Chuck, we haven't had that one.
At the Fast Track on
Fast Track,
in Whitesboro there.
I'm liking getting to know this. It kind of helps us know that you're a real person, Dr. Stevo, and that you're not like perfect, because you like kind of etch out of perfection. It feels like
definitely
something.
not perfect. Just ask
no
my
pressure
wife.
on Anne-Marie, people. No pressure. Have you ever won a contest?
A contest? Contest, like, so that mean you could have enter something and then you
anything.
So
you're talking to somebody who's never even won a bingo contest.
Way back, long time ago. I was the captain of my high school bowl team. Very nerdy.
I love that.
And we won Long Island. So it was. I was very proud of it. It was called. Brainstormers. So it was high school bowl basically. You go against all the other high schools, and myself and some very, very smart, smarter than me, made up the team. But I think myself and I'll give a shout out to my friend Glenn Weinstein, who was another captain of the team.
You won.
We won Long Island, and we went to Florida and got absolutely destroyed. But we got a trip to Florida.
There you go.
So that's awesome, though. I mean, at least you got a trip to Florida.
It was great.
Okay, like, what's your hidden talent?
Hidden talent?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know a lot of. I guess my talent would be, and because people would make fun of me because I ask people, and as I get older, it's much less of a talent as I get older, because I have a great deal of useless memory regarding TV shows and old movies.
That's actually a very cool talent, because you can, like,
I know a lot of stupid things.
But you can slip stuff in there. Very cool. That's a great segue into your favorite movie. Like, now I'm really curious about all-time favorite movie. It's got to be like all-time. You can't like sneak in another one. It's got to be an all-time favorite movie.
So, my all-time that you can put it in different categories. So there's comedies and movies, but I would say probably all right. I'm going to give you a group of movies and a movie. So my all-time favorite,
You are the boss.
single movie was the original Matrix. I think it was just a terrific movie, raised lots of questions, really well done.
Made you think.
Made me think, and it just was, some new innovative techniques and well acted. And I know everyone goes, "Oh, Keanu Reeves did nothing," but I think he did a great job. It was perfect for the role, and I thought it was great. I remember when it came out, I worked. We have a former partner, Dr. Sternick, was a great guy. We would talk about the Matrix. So that probably the single one. If I look at other movies that I watched that at the end of each individual movie in the trilogy, when it ended in the theater, I was like mad because it was
'cause you wanted it
over
to go.
and I had to wait till the next one, which would be the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was really well done. And I love it. I mean, I love Star Wars, don't get me wrong, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy, well done, very reflective in my mind to the books, which I read when I was young and had, you know, an impact on me. I mean, I think I'm part of a core that grew up in the 70s that played Dungeons and Dragons. So my wife makes fun of me. She almost made me tried to make me throw out my Dungeons and Dragons books yesterday.
What?
So Lord of the Rings it's just great. That's my probably that's if I take those three. If it was one movie, that would be my favorite. But since it's three, I put Matrix first.
And just a little side note on that. From what I've heard, Keanu Reeves signed on for another Matrix. That is speculation to a degree. I mean, it was said real, but you know how you can only trust so much on social media?
I believe it.
But I think that, I think he signed on. So another Matrix coming out.
He's much.
Dr. Restivo, thank you so much for being on this episode.
Anytime.
It's something that, I'm a little nervous. I don't know if people that frequently watch episodes or listen in that you can sense it a little bit in me, but it's because of what maybe Dr. Restivo shared and provided for us, which is just the highest level of expectations with the highest level of support to be able to do so. And probably like all of you, you want to be able to do that and achieve. So we're so grateful to have you on and to do a deep dive with some of these conversations.
I'm surprised that anyone would want to listen to what I have to say. Okay, I'll take it.
Oh, I think people are going to want to listen. We do have one of our little tokens here that, that people are like really, I think, liking them, or I just tell myself, but people are kind of copying a little bit. So a little bit of AMC Connects. I have learned from the workforce. Thank you. I've learned from the workforce. I said this at the beginning. We kind of like conceptualize that idea. Again, Chuck does all the hard work, but some of our workforce, like I came to Rome and people are like, they have water bottles and they're really well hydrated, and then they decorate them, and then there's just a lot of like fanciness when it comes to
It's going to go on my
Romans.
car. I got this.
Thank you,
It's on my
Dr.
back
Restivo.
window.
Yeah, people will wonder and then maybe tune in. I hope that this discussion really leaned in for people and went deep in terms of the great leadership that we have supporting us in this organization. I do say in orientation, every welcome that I get the opportunity to do, that although people don't, maybe a lot of people interface with board members and maybe a lot of people don't, but we're really blessed because there's a high expectations, and our board of trustees, led by our chairman, really does focus on the details, has a lot of time and effort, and has a high expectation that all of us as a workforce are accomplishing our mission, vision, and values. Well, as promised, a couple hot off the press items that we have. We were featured again in the Sentinel, and a little bit more of a deep dive in Rome Health Mark's transformational year and major expansion, and some of the impacts. Like really, again, grateful for the Sentinel to be able to do a summary. I really appreciate it. A lot of hard work. In 2025, just a brief quote, we advanced our mission in ways that will shape the future of healthcare in our communities for decades to come. Being able to outline that particular article. So take a look at it if you haven't. It's certainly a pride moment with outcomes associated with it. I think it leans and again connects to what Dr. Restivo is saying, is that everything that we do is to advance the overall care in this community and to be great partners. Switching gears a little bit, if you haven't seen it in your email, it did come out that we were able to release a press release regarding the stabilization grant with a lot more detail in it that's been talked about a couple times on AMC Connects. We had announced previously a couple times that Rome is one of 8 organizations across the country that was awarded this particular technical assistance program at no cost to Rome Health, but very helpful with some of the challenges that we have ahead. And I talk about the challenges, which I will, on a month-by-month basis and how they're impacting us. But this particular assistance will help us analyze at a very deep level with some of the national intelligence minds. Being able to have that particular support is very helpful. And with that, leaning right into, this is very exciting. And Chuck, I think, did a great job making sure that information is posted on social media, as well as in the standard paper news, that we announced that our very own Scott Burns will serve as the community champion associated with that particular grant. That was one of the milestones in the grant that we had to be able to meet, was that we selected a champion, and I can't think of, but I had the burden of making the decision. So you guys put that there. But I can't think of a better person. As Dr. Restivo said, we have a great quality officer and an amazing quality management team that leads us through our efforts to be the best place to give and receive care for patients and clinicians. And Scott champions that, and he will be the community liaison as associated with this particular grant. Thank you to Scott. He's gotten training. He's had to jump right in, fast and furious, just the way that we do things here at Rome Health. So thankful for Scott with that. We also did talk about a month end, trying to make a commitment. All of you have shared with me the bar is high when it comes to communications. When I know something, you know something. So trying to make sure that I do a monthly update, and that update came out for the final performance end of January and what February looks like. Just a brief snapshot of that. Dear Rome Health colleagues, as anticipated, January's financial performance closed below budget. The gap was more than $316,000, driven primarily by lower than targeted volumes in key service lines. Although February is forecasted to close with an anticipated similar gap, I'm pleased to be able to say we're beginning to see some encouraging tipping points. It's a lot, though. It's a big lift on all of us, making sure that every minute of every day we're really optimizing what it is that we're doing here and making sure that we're accountable. And we've talked a bit about key policies already, but that was in that notice as well. And now really hot off the press.
Super hot.
It's super hot, Chuck. And I'm doing a little bit of this in self-promotion of in the evaluation period, and the boss is in the room,
there,
so to
guy.
speak. So trying to make this connection. In all seriousness, very excited to announce an executive summary for Safe Patient Handling program review. Rome Health just was acknowledged that we meet and exceed recognized best practices for safe patient handling following a comprehensive validation by the Academy of Safe Patient Handling and Excellence. The program is considered to be in the top 1% of programs naturally. The on-site visit possesses tools, knowledge, and amazing outcomes to quickly address and identify any gaps that we may have had. There's high-level core pillars that we met, but I think one of the closing remarks from this program director that was evaluating us was that we were even one of very few organizations that could even apply to be considered a Safe Patient Handling Center of Excellence. So I am pleased to share, Dr. Restivo, we are the only one as of right now in the country that has achieved this particular level. So congratulations. I know. Congratulations. And it's really about being a comprehensive program. Like, I certainly love I do love ribbons and trophies. I haven't won a lot of contests in my life, so thanks to all of you being on the winner's stand in the form of designations and ribbons and trophies. It's really about making sure that we're the best place for employees, because if we're the best workforce we can be, then we know that our patients and our community at large is getting the best care. So thank you all for creating and providing the best care out there here.